Alright, it's time to do some teardowns. Now, I've already decided at this point that when I upload these, it's going to be in multiple parts because it's just the raw footage right now. I think I'm up to like 5 hours, and obviously there's a lot I cut out to make it shorter because there's time in between when I'm grabbing a different meter and doing stuff like that, but it's going to be too long, so I'm going to do super quick teardowns. If you want more details and maybe some deeper teardowns where I actually take the entire board out so we can look at the other side, that kind of stuff I cover in the individual reviews, so you can go pull up the individual review of ones you want to see detailed teardowns of. But in the name of keeping this quick, I'm going to try to just blast through these. So we'll take it apart and then we'll look at the important things, which really just does it look like shit, yes or no? Does everything look like it's nicely laid out? Is there input protection? And then move on. Okay, first up, we have the Fluke. Okay, I got it apart, but good lord, that was ridiculously hard to try to get apart. So, obviously this is a very, very basic meter, but it's got chip on board. Huh, that's bizarre. And then 2 gold-plated contacts with batteries, speaker, crystal, some really big input resistors, some PTCs. I don't think this says input jack detection. Huge ceramic high rupture fuse. So I'm guessing, I guess it really doesn't have a milliamp range, so I'm guessing this probably just for one range. It has high voltage isolation slots here, and here, and then just like with the big brother Fluke models like the 87.5, they actually have the chassis go through the slots for extra isolation, so that's pretty cool. There's the current shunt. It's a little bitty one, so I'm guessing, well, I guess it still says 10 amped, so I don't see. Could be on the other side. I don't see any MOVs, no varistors, but at least it's got, for what it is, really good protection. Now, I think I saw somewhere, there's a thread somewhere, someone did some torture testing on a bunch of multimeters, and they had the 105 model. I think it was the 105 model, and out of all the multimeters they tested a whole ton of them. They all died except the little baby Fluke. So obviously Fluke knows what they're doing, and despite this being made in China and being a Chinese model, this is very well designed. It's very tidy, and I like it. I like it a lot. There we go. Got the board out. So just membrane style, well, I don't know, I guess that's not membrane, but crappy rubber buttons. There's the front. You can see the isolation slots better, and nice fat traces for the higher current stuff. Pretty minimalist and simple, really, but I like it. And yeah, it's the split type of input jack, but this is also a well, not this exact model, but I mean, it's a $50 Fluke, so what do you expect? All in all, though, I would say this will probably be the safest as far as input protection, despite being the least capable. Just being a Fluke. Fluke doesn't mess around when it comes to safety. So yeah, excellent. All right, it's time to take a peek inside the Southwire. So there we have it. There's the 2 battery tabs. Has a very, very deep groove for blast protection, which is what you would expect from a company that makes tools for electricians. Oh, this looks very familiar. I remember there being a certain Extech 300 series model where they had a wire going from the bottom left corner to the top right corner, and so I'd have to pull up some teardown pictures. Maybe that's just a weird coincidence, but that right there tells me this could actually be rebranded Extech. And if you look at it, it is kind of similar to the Extech 300 series. They're very similar in shape, so there's a very good chance that this is actually just an Extech. But anyways, as you would expect, ceramic fuses for both. And I would assume they're properly rated. I mean, it's an American brand, so American brands generally don't lie about their ratings. Yeah, it's very, very neat construction. I have absolutely no complaints, really. That's a little... The through-hole resistors down here, they're a little kind of messy, but I got a couple PTCs. Current shunt looks fine. Yeah, it looks pretty good, and you can tell that it's got the full tube type input jacks because it's got the nuts on the end like this. You'll either have screws or nuts on the ends generally if you have the full tube type. So yeah, so these will give a nice snug fit. So no high voltage isolation that I can see, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. And so, but overall, I'd say this is pretty damn good. I really don't have any complaints. Oh, there's a little bit of isolation right there, but not bad. I'm gonna have to pull up some pictures to see if this is related to the Extech 300 series. I'll have to compare the specs too, because maybe it is the same thing. That'd be funny if it was. Wouldn't surprise me. But let's see, this one cost, yeah, $55, so I don't know if this would really be any cheaper than buying the actual Extech. So, I don't know, we'll see. But is the Extech IP rated the 300 series? Maybe it is. But actually, wasn't it the Extech 300 series that had the PCB that went around that Dave Jones found that it was broken and they had like soldered a little joint that went across it? That was kind of sketchy. I have a feeling it was, because if it would make sense, because look how thin it would be to have to go around the side. So maybe this is based on the same one. I don't know. We'll pull up some pictures and then find out later, but that's very interesting. But overall, though, it's very neat. And if I remember correctly, there's also the one that had all the cluttered resistors down here, and if that's the case, then they apparently got that fixed. So yeah, no major complaints. I think it's a pretty neat overall design. Alright, time to take a peek inside the Tekpower TP2844R. And we're in! So it's got a little bit of a ridge, so it's got the 2 layers, and then this lip goes inside for blast protection, so it's not too bad. No shielding, but it's cheap Chinese Tekpower, so... at least it is one. The tannet fuse at least is a ceramic type, or well, we'll assume it is. It could just be a glass one with paper around it. That'd be pretty shitty. But and then the little dinky, weak, freaking glass fuse over here. That's not very good. Chip on board. A lot of through-hole resistors, but everything else is SMD. A ton of analog SMD stuff going on. Couple trimmers, got crystal over in that corner, speaker. Surprisingly, the 3 screws it takes to open this up were all machine screws into metal nuts, so that's pretty good. Yeah, these are the cheaper type of binding posts, or not binding posts, input jacks, but they're fine. And then the weakest little, weakest possible little PTC in the corner, that might be the smallest one I've ever seen. That's not SMD. And I think that might be the only input protection that I can see right off the top. Yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, it's okay. At least it's fused. Some of them aren't even fused on a 10 amp range, and at least it's got one PTC. So they half-assed tried. It's not bad. It could be worse. Okay, it's time to take a peek inside the Klein. Alright, so this is the inside of the Klein. Just off of just first impression, super impressed. 2 name brand ceramic high rupture capacity fuses. Really nice looking current shunt, though it does appear to be touching the range switch back piece thing. That's a little disheartening. And same with this little mod wire they put across here. That's a little it's a little sketchy, but yeah. Input jacks look fine. There's definitely a lot of high voltage isolation slots and such down there. And then looks like we have some PTCs. And it seems like all the higher end brands do the little shrink wrapping of the PTCs. I'm not actually sure what the purpose of that is. I'm actually curious. Oh, look at that. Another sketchy little mod wire going across there. Oops. Got your speaker, crystal, main processor. Overall though, I like it. It's a really neat design, and they put some safety into it. I would like to see more varistors in these things, but apparently that's too much to ask for. But yeah, all in all, I would say the Klein Tools is excellent. You could definitely tell that safety is a big concern of theirs, since they make these for electricians, so very good. Okay, now we have the Uni-T UT61E. So this does not have a holster. This should just be a few screws. Okay, so it looks like there's some shielding, some light pipes for the IR, send and receive. And then there's the battery terminals on the main board, which is nice. And hey, looks like they've upped their quality a little bit. There's actually an isolation slot there, which you used to not see in the old models. I don't remember that being there anyways from seeing other people's teardowns. 3 PTCs, it's better than it could be. And they're dinky size fuses, but at least they're the ceramic ones. Hopefully, actually they're probably not the right voltage rating, but at least they're high rupture and they're the ceramic, not the glass ones that'll just blow to a million pieces. I see some other unpopulated spots. I'm not quite sure. Maybe that's, I don't know. It's very interesting. As far as components go, nice speaker. I don't see anything that just stands out as being terrible at all, to be honest. Is that... I'm guessing it's probably a resistor network. Hey, look, there's more cutouts. There's one right there, and then there's one right there. So, all in all, though, I mean, there's no bodge wires. There's all the component choices seem to be decent quality. They're not. I don't see anything super cheap. Everything seems to be the right package size. Yeah, nothing on here stands out as being bad. Actually, it's actually pretty decent. It could definitely do with some bigger fuses and PTCs are fine, I guess. Varistor would be good for soaking up some transients and clamping the voltage when it gets high, but yeah, I really don't have any complaints. That's actually pretty nice, and it has a really deep groove that goes into the inside here in this channel for blast protection, and it's honestly a nice case, and actually the blast protection is actually rounded on this one. A lot of them, it's even if the outside's rounded to look more modern, the blast protection part's usually square on the inside, but this one's actually rounded, and so that's pretty good. Shielding on the side. Are they learning from Fluke's GSM issues, I guess? I don't know. That's a little interesting how they did that, but yeah, all in all, very impressed. This is a $50 meter that's 22,000 count. It's not bad. Ceramic fuses, PTCs, high voltage isolation slots. I still would say it would probably struggle to meet its CAT ratings, maybe. I don't know. I'd be really curious to see if it does, but it could be a lot worse. We'll put it that way. It's not that bad. And it just feels good. They designed the case really well, so we got to give them credit where it's due. Okay, time for the circuit test DMR 6550. Okay, so I got it open. There's no shielding on the back, which is disappointing. Uses a shitty soft battery snap. Well, that's disheartening. It's only fused on the 10 amp range. Doesn't look like it's fused at all on the millivolt range, or milliamp range, I mean. Yeah. Well, that's crap. That might be the only one of the bunch. That's actually pretty sad. And the 10 amp one is just this weakest, most pathetic freaking fuse. 250 volt. So, yeah. I do see 3 PTCs, so at least they've got that going for it, maybe. Yeah. There's the current shunt, which looks fine. A lot of through-hole caps. Speaker. I'm guessing these are for the backlight, the LCD. It's okay. Yeah, that's fine. The fusing is just unacceptable, but at least it's got solid type input jacks, the solid tube type, and it does have decent blast protection. So yeah, not great. No shielding. Could use ceramic fuses. Could use a fuse for the milliamp range, and yeah, but it's okay. I'm just surprised they used this many through-hole components, but can't get everything you want. Time for the Holdpeak. And we're in. There is no shielding. Wow, that is bare. That is very bare. So, speaker at the top left corner, which seems to be what they all do. Yeah, man, there's not a lot going on with this one, is there? There's a really pathetic little PTC over here by itself. There is the LED that goes through the light pipe for the light that comes out of the end of the range switch, which is very interesting. Never seen that before. It's fused on both ranges at least, but they're just the absolute crap glass fuses. The input jacks are actually pretty good. They're seeing the screw in the end. You know that they're the solid tube type. They're solid all the way around, so that's very good. 10 amp current shunt looks fine. Surprisingly, the soldering for the transistor gain tester looks good. Usually that's really low quality hand soldered crap. All in all though, the input protection could be better, so if you bought this one, I definitely wouldn't go plugging this into the mains or anything if you can help it. You'd probably leave this to probing your logic level stuff, but it's not terrible. Nothing jumps out as being just horrendously dangerous or anything, so it's not bad. It could be worse. Okay, time to take a peek inside the Extech. And we're in. No shielding. Holy crap, that is different and not what I expected. That is two board design, and it looks like they use 0.1 inch headers as a means of a board interconnect. So that's, what if we can just pull it off? Whoops. I'm guessing this, well, maybe it does. I don't know, this, yeah, this model doesn't have the non-voltage contact, I don't think. So this is just like a plug. I'm guessing that's where the antenna normally goes. That is interesting. So that might be how they get away with their cat ratings, I guess. I mean, no better isolation than having it on a separate board. So that looks like a massive varistor, and if that is, that might be the first one we've seen that's got a varistor so far. Ceramic fuses, but they're pretty wimpy ones, so yeah. Nice looking current shunt. Looks like common and voltage are solid tube, and then looks like, is it for detection? Yeah, I think they have input jack detection on these two ranges, so those are split type, but it's really interesting that it's on a separate board like this that's modular, that you can just push down onto there. So that's actually pretty cool. And that was what was rattling. And that piece of solder could have caused some serious problems if I'd have been probing the mains and this shorted something. So that's actually a little disheartening that that was in there. Oh, I guess I should mention earlier I was shaking this and you could hear something rattling inside. I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but that's interesting. Are there really two speakers? What the hell? That's I don't get that. That's weird. Tons of missing SMD components over here. It's such a bare board. It's really weird. And there's a little PTC in the corner, a little wimpy looking one. So yeah, it's not a lot going on. I guess we have to pull this out and see what's on the other side, because there's nothing going on this end. There we go. So here's the back side of the front. Nothing out of the ordinary. And there's the backlight button. There is absolutely nothing on this side except for the they look like gold-plated tracks for the range switch. That's a nice touch. For strain relief, they also did hot glue, so that's actually surprising they went through that much trouble. Let's see if we can lift this off. There we go. Semic, whatever that is. Very interesting. And those are the greenish backlight LEDs on the side on their own little riser board. That's a very interesting design. But there you have it. And this looks like a diffuser that didn't actually work very well in my opinion, but whatever. Cool. Not a lot to really see on this side. Alright, it's time to take apart the Tekpower TP40. Alright, I got it apart. Looks like there is some shielding on the back side. And here's the board. It looks like this is the non-contact voltage detect antenna. Okay, got the speaker, main processor, which I'm guessing probably drives the display also. Isolation slots, and they kind of got the Fluke style here where part of the molded chassis actually comes through the slot, which is pretty cool. Other than that though, there really isn't anything on the side of the board. There's a spring that contacts the shielding on the back panel, but it looks like we're gonna have to take this out to get to see any of the goods, if you know what I mean. So well, color me impressed. Look at that. 2 ceramic high rupture fuses. And yeah, they're 1000 volt. That is freaking awesome. So thumbs up to the Tekpower for that. And it has the solid type, the solid tube input jacks soldered directly to the board, which I don't know. It's kind of a wash. It obviously puts force on the PCB having them connected directly, but I'm sure it's fine. Tons and tons and tons of poly switches up in this section right here, which is always good. So that's really all she wrote, though. There's nothing to this thing. So yeah, really impressive input protection, though. I mean, it's got isolation slots, the Fluke type too, where it goes through the actual PCB. It's got 2 of the large sized ceramic fuses. Nice clean looking shunt that's a little close to that fuse. Nice jacks. 5 PTCs. So yeah, I like it a lot. And I was going to complain about the battery snap not being able to come through like on most models, but I don't think it's a big deal because you can get the fuses out without lifting the little display assembly off. And there's just a zebra strip right there, the vertical conducting strip for the contacts for the screen, and that's really all she wrote. And then yeah, so the Tekpower TP40, out of all the Chinese ones, it's probably one of the better ones, actually. I'm impressed with the, especially with the fuses, the quality of the jacks, a bunch of PTCs, no mobs, but most of the ones in the $50 range don't have them. So yeah, actually, I'm actually pretty impressed with this. Not too bad. It's a little annoying you had to take the holster off, but well, do you have to get to the battery? No, I guess not. Well, actually, I'm not sure. I don't remember. Either way, overall, I'd say that's pretty good. Don't have any complaints. Alright, it's time to take a look inside the Amprobe AM-530. Now, being a bigger name brand and out of Germany, I expect this to be pretty good quality, but you never know. We'll find out. And we're in. That was actually a really easy one to get into, so I like that. No shielding, but really deep ridges for blast protection. And high rupture ceramic fuses, as you would expect from a reputable manufacturer like this. So right off the bat, I see some PTCs over here, which is good. Big input power resistor, another PTC. This one has the typical shrink wrap over it. An actual name brand. Actually, they're both. This is Seba and this is Bussmann ceramic fuses. 1000 volt. They're definitely correctly rated. The input jacks they're all right. They get the job done. They're nothing super fancy or special. Not a whole lot of isolation anywhere really. I mean, there's a little slot here, and that's really about it. But other than that, it's extremely clean design. There is a diode that's through hole that's going across there. That's a little bizarre, but it's not a fix because there's actually a mark on the silk screen for that diode to be across there. So that's kind of bizarre that they intentionally designed it to be like that. But yeah, I don't know. And then there's the IR LED up there because there's a glass window. Oh no, that's actually the flashlight LED. Sorry, I lied. I don't think this one has. Yeah, this one doesn't have data connectivity. Speaker, crystal, some bigger caps. Nothing really stands out. I'm guessing the main processor's on the back side, so guess we pop the board out and see what's hiding on the other side. Okay, so there's the back of the display. It's got some good shielding on it. It's actually a pretty heavy display. And there's really not a lot to the inside of there. Yep, there's our main processor. A couple of... oh, those must be for the backlights into the LCD's diffuser. And just a lot of analog stuff on the front side of this board. Tons and tons. Yeah, really, that's it. There isn't really much else on the bottom half of the board, so... anyways, it's really neat. I like it. I really don't have any problems with it. Does this have... maybe not. Just trying to figure out what's going on with all this up here. I mean, obviously that row right here is for the display, but I didn't know what those directly above it were. Maybe just some heat sinking for the LED, since it is in an enclosed space, and it's probably a super bright one. So anyways, very interesting and very clean, and it is not bad at all. Alright, next up is UT61D. We already looked inside the E model, I think. Yeah, but there are differences, so I guess it's probably worth at least taking a peek. I think, no? Could have sworn I had one that had a screw up at the top here, but maybe I am just losing my marbles. Okay, got some shielding, light pipes for the IR, send and receive, but when you look at the board, you realize it's only send. Speaker, some kind of isolation slot. Battery tabs are soldered directly to the board. It's got the same weird shield over here on the right side. All the components seem of very good quality. The soldering's great. Everything is nice and straight. They're both ceramic fuses. The current shunt looks nice and clean. That's interesting. This one actually has... oh, that's a cap. Sorry about that. My alarm went off. Anyways, so yeah, at first glance I thought this was a resistor and got excited, but it looks like it's just a cap. So I got a wimpy little PTC and then input power resistor and not a whole lot of isolation anythings. It's pretty bare and simple. All right, time to take a peek inside the UEI UTL-DM2. Such a big name. Just gonna start calling it just the UEI because I think that's what most people call it. We're in super simplistic case, but I guess there's nothing wrong with that. No shielding. There's our 10 amp current shunt. It's kind of bent over and touching the plastic there, but I guess that's fine because these two sides they have continuity. Ceramic fuses, they're not the super tiny ones, so I guess that's okay. 3 PTCs. And that's about all she wrote. There really isn't a lot to it. And there's the main processor and a little watch crystal, and man, this is a super simple little guy. But then again, this doesn't have a lot that it has to do. This one is not True RMS, so this is a pretty basic little model. But yeah, not a lot going on. But it's very neat and tidy and simple, and I really don't have any complaints. But it could do with a MOV. But outside of that, I don't really have too many complaints. No isolation slots, but this doesn't have it's only Cat 3600, so I'm sure it's fine. But yeah, very simple, but not really a lot you can complain about. So time to peek inside the BK Precision. Okay, here's the back, and it actually has a ton of shielding. Not bad, not bad. So here's that Cyrus Tech we see in half of these, like the UT61E and a bunch of the other ones. The Voltcraft had it. Launch crystal, bunch of analog SMD goodies, big cap, really big speaker. So looks like we have looks like a single wimpy PTC. It does have a varistor right here, which is cool. It's what, only the second one now that's had one, so that's awesome. Both ceramic fuses, and nice wide traces for the 10 amp one. The input jacks, these look like the solid type, these look like the split type, but these are the current ones, so maybe these have input detection alert. So that might be why that's like that, but all in all, it's not honestly that bad. But BK's a bigger name brand, so you would expect good quality from them, and that's exactly what I'm seeing in here. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. As far as blast protection, by the way, before I put it completely back together, it's not the greatest, and that might be also why it's so much more creaky and crappy feeling compared to some of the other ones. It doesn't have the double layer on the bottom half of the case, where, you know, most of these have a top layer that goes into a slot between two inner layers, and this doesn't have that. And so that might be why this one's kind of compromised in its rigidity. So, but as far as the PCB and input protection goes, it's pretty dang good. It's one of the few that's actually had a MOV, so that's surprising. Now the Innova, and I think it's just 2 screws if I remember correctly, so this should be easy. So, surprisingly, it does actually have some shielding on the inside, and they have the piece of the conductive part showing folded over, which contacts the spring, which is good. So that's a little disheartening. Yeah, it looks like the 200 milliamp range has this wimpy ass little fuse, and then the 10 amp range is unfused. Come on, these are used for automotive use. People are gonna hook this up to their freaking car battery. Unfused is kind of unacceptable to me for an automotive meter, but I mean, at least it's got a PTC, I guess, and a little dinky isolation slot, and a pretty good sized power resistor right there. But look at this crap. You see that? And it's tacked over here on the side to the end of that, was that a resistor? That's crap. Chip on board, a bunch of analog crap. Bunch of sketchy looking electrolytic caps that are just bent over. You got your speaker, 10 amp current shunt. It's okay, but man, it leaves a lot to be desired. We'll put it that way. The fact that the 10 amp range is unfused and people will be hooking this up to car batteries, that's a little disheartening, but I guess it does fine. They sell 1 billion of these things on Amazon for 25 bucks, so most people are happy with it. Last but not least, Radio Shack. That's awesome. So this is the only one, I think, out of all 15 that has machine screws into metal nuts molded into the bottom half of the case for taking it apart. Those 3 took the whole thing apart. And then they use little springs right here, which contact right there to transmit power to the main board from the battery compartment, which is an awesome design. And if I remember correctly, these are double A's, which is why this top end feels so heavy. And then it's actually got a USB port. And so your first reaction to that would be, that sucks because I want it to be isolated. Well, it is isolated. Look at this brilliant design. There's a little clear window right here, and right here, IR. And so basically it's where, there you go, right there. They line up with each other, and there's your IR comms, and it's completely electrically isolated. So it's optically isolated inside the unit, and then in here is basically, that is so smart. I love that, and I forgot about this. I took this apart a long time ago. I reviewed this 3 or 4 months ago, and I just remember being impressed by that. So excellent design. Next thing that stands out, it comes with 2 extra fuses right here inside the case. Brilliant. Another thing I remember, it's all coming back to me now. They are ceramic fuses, but they're not big ones, but it's not a very highly rated. It doesn't have a super high cat rating, so that doesn't surprise me. It comes with little fabric things to pull the fuses out with. How awesome is that? That's right. It's the little things like that get you, and I love that they did that. They went out of their way to add those on there. They didn't have to, but they did, and good on them for doing that. That's awesome. So not only do they make it easy to pull the fuses out, they give you extras inside the case, so you can blow your fuses twice before you finally have to go and buy new ones. That's epic. That's awesome. I am tickled to death with that. The input jacks do appear to be the split type, but they're soldered to a daughter board, which is then connected. What looks like there's screws from the bottom side to these shafts or something. I don't know. Not completely sure, but there's the main processor / display driver, 10 amp current shunt, speaker, 2 PTCs, and it looks like that's about it. But that's not terrible. That's about, I mean, you really don't need too much more than that. That's pretty decent. I'm not at all mad about that. It's a True RMS multimeter with all these nice little afterthoughts, and you can get this on eBay right now, brand new, unopened, for 25 bucks. There's several of them out there, so that's awesome. So if you're on a super tight budget and you need True RMS and you want nice little touches, if I remember correctly though, this one is a horrendous capacitance test range, but as long as that's not an issue, this is actually a really good buy, I think. And it does come with the USB cable and the Southwire for data logging, so pretty much pretty impressed with the teardown of this one in respects to safety. I don't think there's anything on the other side worth looking at. I'm guessing it's just bare. So yeah, I like this a lot, and it's got a mediocre amount of blast protection, and this has got the double channel that the channel from the top half slides into, so not bad at all, Radio Shack. You're definitely one of the uglier looking multimeters, but for $25 you probably don't have the right to complain.